Hey friends, what is up? Is Reaper Jinkai here, and I just got off work and decided to make this video. This is going to be my collective thought on everything Sword and Shield. For those of you who don't want to watch a really long video and you want to highlight, people are too hard on Sword and Shield, and I'm sick of it. There you go. If you wanted the 30-second video of this whole video, or a 30-second version of this whole video, there you go. I just got off work, so I'm not going to be doing a script or cutting out anything. This is just going to be free ball, and I have a few topics I'm going to be covering. By the picture that you are seeing right now, I am definitely going to be covering what I think about the beta being leaked. I'm going to be covering my final thoughts on Dexit. I'm going to be covering the DLC. And probably Dynamax Adventures and Raids combined together. So let's start with the most controversial of them all, the beta. 100% honest, from all the pictures that I have seen, I don't think it's actually the beta. It looks more like an alpha. People want to still to this day complain about the graphics about Sword and Shield. And the graphics I've seen in the beta images are dog shit. I'm throwing that out there. The graphics in that are way worse than what we got. The big one that people are blowing up about is the picture you're seeing right now, and that's why I picked it, because clearly some Pokemon that we don't have are in this picture. We don't have Greninja, we don't have Megas, but they showed Mega Rayquaza. We don't have Pidgeotto. Or Sawsbuck, I don't think. I don't know, I haven't really been exploring the Crown Tundra much. I've been too busy doing Dynamax adventures. So real quick. This background, like this stadium, I'm not even 100% convinced that Pokemon made it. I think it's a stock image, if I'm being honest. Which then leads into my next point. I believe that everything you see in this picture is a placeholder. As somebody who went to school briefly as a concept designer, well, game designer, and the first thing we learned about was some products that you will be asked to do, you are not going to know all of the details of it. And they're going to ask for a concept design. In these cases, you're going to have to use placeholders. I believe that's what happened with this. The person who was tasked with designing this didn't know what was going to make it into the game. Didn't know what Game Freak's plans were. And as a placeholder, they put Pokemon like Greninja, Mega Rayquaza, Pidgeotto into the cover. Why? Well, they're popular Pokemon. That's it. I think that's why they're there. I don't think this says that they had programmed Mega Evolution and everything like that and then just decided to remove it. I don't think that's what happened at all. Do I think that Game Freak intended to have everything in Pokemon Sword and Shield? Yeah, I probably do. I think that would be a fair assumption. Um, but moving from a handheld console to the Switch, which is a combination of a handheld and a home, I can't imagine the difference in programming and shit like that. So I would imagine problems arise. Certain things couldn't make it. They're on a time limit. That's another thing people have been bringing up. Why didn't they push it back then? Because Pokemon is one of, if not, the most grossing franchise in the world. Owned by Nintendo. Game Freak was probably given a deadline and said, have it out by then. I think that's it. I think they had to cut stuff. On the topic of Mega Evolution specifically, I could see it being a balancing thing. Not to say that Megas are broken, but a majority of the Pokemon that get Megas are already really strong. And then you give them a Mega and they become stronger. Like, I don't think Rayquaza needed a Mega Evolution at all. It was already in Ubers, and then it got thrown into AG because of Mega Rayquaza. Well, Mega Rayquaza got thrown into AG. So, this whole beta thing, I think it's being blown out of proportion. I think the people that have been hating on Pokemon Sword and Shield have just been given something else to rekindle the fire to scream at all of us who still think it's a good game. Because, in my opinion, it is. I have almost 300 hours in this game. It's a good game. Other than that, I don't really think much else of the beta. It is what it is. It was a closed beta. Images got out. People are blowing it up more than it needs to. That's what it is. The next thing I'm going to talk about, because I don't think I've ever said my full opinion on it, Dexit. Dexit's not that big a deal, guys. It's happened before. 3rd gen, for a fact, had a Dexit. It's not that big a deal. It's happened before in the past. We got all the Pokemon later. It's gonna happen again. We've seen it with the DLCs. With every DLC, they're introducing more and more. Dexit's not a big deal. In fact, for me, it's probably my favorite thing about Sword and Shield, because the Pokedex is broken up into 3 different categories. The base Pokedex, the Isle of Armor Pokedex, and then the Crown Tundra Pokedex, and you get different rewards for completing each of them. As someone who occasionally likes to shiny hunt, it was really nice that I only had to catch 400 Pokemon to get the shiny charm compared to 800 plus Pokemon. And then with the 210 that are in Isle of Armor, and I'm aware some of them are repeats, I don't know the exact number, they had added some more. And they did the same thing with Crown Tundra. I think the reward for the Isle of Armor might not be worth it, like, for me at least. For extreme collectors, I could see it being a thing. You want to collect a shiny that also has a mark? Cool. More power to you. Not my thing. So, overall, Dexit's not a bad thing. Comp-wise, I think it's the best thing in recent Pokemon games that has ever happened to comp, considering Lando T has been reigning over comp since 5th gen. I was happy not to see it. I was happy not to see all these legendaries on every team. I was happy to see people being forced to try out new mons. Dexit forced me to use a different in-game team, a different competitive team, and I found new mons to fall in love with. And not even all of them are from Galar. There were some that I chose to use from previous games that I had never used because all the options I default to were there. It forced me to change, and I fell in love with new Pokemon I had never even given a chance before. Overall, for me at least, I think Dexit was a good thing. It was kind of a breath of fresh air. I know a lot of comp players didn't like it because they have their favorite mons to run. They have teams built already that they wanted to transfer over. I get it. It's irritating. But Sword and Shield introduced not only the easiest way to get a Pokemon to level 100, but the easiest way so far to get a level 100 Mon comp ready. Bottle caps are not hard to find. Hell, in the Crown Tundra, bottle caps are even easier to get. Because if you're doing the Dynamax adventures, looking for a legendary, or looking for a shiny legendary like I am, you are getting a shit ton of the, it's like Dynamite Ore or something. And you can exchange those for bottle caps. I had enough to get the hidden ability patch and then get like 15 bottle caps afterwards. Like, getting a Pokemon comp ready is the easiest it has ever been. And I think that's a great thing as well. They have kind of closed that entry gap into competitive, because I know a bunch of really good battlers that never gave competitive a chance because they didn't want to sit down and really grind out that team, get the perfect IVs, EVs, everything like that. So we're gonna move on from that. Let's start with the Isle of Armor DLC. Isle of Armor, I felt like out of the two DLCs, it was pretty underwhelming. There wasn't a lot to it. I enjoyed the new Pokemon that they added. The story was okay. I did like that they made you use Kubfu for a part of this story. Because for the rest of the story, it was like, oh yeah, you have to battle this person to progress. And it's like, okay, cool, I'm running around with my comp team right now. They're level 100. I can throw out my defensive mon and sweep his team. There was no challenge in it. But that's because at that point I already had 200 plus hours in the game. I'm sure somebody who just beat the main story and then hopped into Isle of Armor might have had a good time. I don't know. Then Crown Tundra is definitely better, in my opinion. The Legendary's coming back. I know I just said I was sick of seeing Lando, but I knew it was coming eventually. It's nice to see him back overall. It was nice to see Legendaries gain Galarian forms. It's nice that older Legendary sets, like the Regis, well, specifically the Regis, were getting more added to it. It's a vast area, a bunch of Pokemon. It's cool to see like fossil Pokemon walking around, and it kind of making sense because the Crown Tundra is barren. There's the one town, and that's it. The rest is just free roam. So it kind of made sense that in an area where people might not leave their town often, these rare Pokemon are here. I kind of wish they were a little bit harder to get to spawn, but I understand why it's like that. And of course, the introduction of Dynamax Adventures, which I'll get into that later. Overall, it's incredible. I have already sunk like 30 hours into the Crown Tundra, doing nothing but shiny hunting Giratina. And I've used up like 300 Pokeballs and still no luck. So, a little bit sad there, but it is what it is. It's odds. And then the last thing, I don't know if this is controversial, but I know I've heard a bunch of people complain about how they don't like raids. And that makes no sense to me. Because to me, raids are the best addition to the Pokemon games there's ever been. I'll say it there. I'll say it like that. Because I think it is. Pokemon, other than battling your friends, really had no no multiplayer to it. It was single player or PvP. Raids and the Dynamax Adventure add co-op. You can grab 3 friends, hop into a raid or an adventure, and you guys can work together compared to just battling each other. And I think it was a great addition because instead of contrasting with PvP, it kind of works with PvP very well. Because if you're looking for like hidden abilities or 5 IV mons, or hell, you're looking to get a legendary, you can hop into either of those. Raids a little bit less on the legendaries. Work with 3 of your friends, catch them on with the ability you want, and if you're willing to put in the time to get the bottle caps, the mints, you can change that mon to be whatever you want. So you can work with your friends to build your competitive team. And I think it's great. 100% best thing they've ever I can't speak English. Best thing they've ever added to Pokemon, in my opinion. Dynamax Adventures in general, I love them and hate them. I love them because clearly, like I said, I've almost put 30 hours into the Crown Tundra, basically solely doing Dynamax Adventures. And I'm having fun doing it. But there is a certain frustration when you feel like the group, especially playing with randoms, isn't picking the best route, or you get into the boss and they're using moves that are effectively doing nothing, like Wide Guard on Giratina. Giratina has no AoE moves. If you have Wide Guard on the Mon, it's a wasted move. So there's a certain level of frustration to it, but I just keep reminding myself I've ran this raid 70 plus times. I have fought Giratina a lot. I know what it does. I know how to fight it. This might be somebody's first time. They don't know the moveset that Giratina has. So, if you can keep that frustration down and definitely take breaks when you need to, it's a great thing. Plus, it added a working shiny hunting method for the shiny hunting community. Because we went from Masuda method and then the broken, just piece of shit new shiny hunting method that they introduced. Which, if you don't know, that one was battle 500 of the same Pokemon, and it was supposed to work. You get a 1 in 512 chance of that Pokemon every time you encounter it becoming a shiny. If it was that would have been great. Would have loved it. Instead, what it was battle a Pokemon 500 times and get a 3% chance of getting the 1 in 512 odds. And they never fixed it, and that felt awful, so you were Masuda methoding for everything. Now we have, with the shiny charm, a 1 in 100 chance of anything you battle in the Dynamax Adventures and catch becoming shiny. If you don't know about that yet, look it up. Look how to do it. Basically, at the end, when it tells you to pick one, they will pop up shiny then. If you're looking for the legendary, don't keep the legendary. Because once you keep it, you can't encounter that legendary again. But with that, overall, I'd probably say Sword and Shield is a great game. I wouldn't say it's my favorite Pokemon game. I would definitely throw it in my top 3. Where in the top 3, I don't know. It would either be second or third, with Sinnoh being first. Sinnoh will forever be my favorite Pokemon game. With that, final thing I wanted to say about this is stuff like this and the beta is probably why I haven't uploaded a lot of Pokemon content. Because, I'm gonna be honest, it's not fun or interesting to bring up conversations about Pokemon anymore. like 5th or 6th gen, you could go on the internet, start a debate about Pokemon. And you might get the occasional person saying they're killing Pokemon and it's awful. But for the most part, you could have a debate with somebody and it end with both of you being like, oh, okay, you know, I see your points, you see mine, and it ends there. Now, like, every Pokemon post that appears, it's literally a 50-50 comment war that ends up with somebody getting cussed out, somebody getting reported in the comments. It's just like, really? Over a Pokemon game? I get we all love it. We all want it to be the best it can be. But let's not make the community unbearable. That's all I ask. Have a good one, guys.